We will start our search of the submarine pens here in the town of Bordeaux, and you can see the waterway that comes down into the town. We will then begin our search of additional pens up the coast of Brittany, La Palisse, Saint Rochelle, Saint Nazareth, and eventually up to Lorient, and then up to Brest. We are at Bordeaux, France. This is the southernmost submarine pens that were built in World War II along the Brittany coast with the Bay of Biscay nearby. Take a look at the first four. They are rather wide, and in that first four, two submarines could sit side by side. The next four are smaller, and they would allow for only one submarine. The last two were actually dry docks. You could let the water in, the boat could come in, then you pump the water out and the boat would sit down on blocks and be worked on in the last two. So there are a total of 9 here in Bordeaux. On this side, as we face it to the left of the main bunker, there's another very large concrete structure which housed torpedoes and fuel for the submarine. Obviously, they were both explosive, so you wouldn't want them to blow up when things got rainy here with bombs.
The writing is good.
The little arbors still there. The flowers, the whole entwined in it. In fact, when you guys are going to feel them, look at them up the line. I see that arbor there.
I know. It's a special. I'm glad that we got married there.
Yeah. Right there. Telling children and children's children. It was like, that is fun. Hey, there's little, are those rowboats? Or is that the boat that we were looking at? No. What is that thing in the water, yellow?
That's part of that sunken boat.
Didn't seem like that happened.
My mom said that one of her friends, when she walked down the mountain, she like put them in the pit movie, where she just started crying. She was like, "This is so beautiful." She's like, "I just want to walk in my water."
So is that metal piece?
This area that you're looking at is what is known as the turning basin, and the submarines would come in here and turn and maneuver to get access into the pens. It's a sheltered area. Yeah. This whole area of water that you see here is a turning basin. And during the war, the submarines would come into this area. It's peaceful and quiet. There's no tide here, significant tide, and certainly no wave action. And so it was very calm, and they could turn in here and maneuver into the various pens. And over to my right is the entrance, which we'll walk over and take a look at, into this turnabout for the submarine. Okay, we'll just walk over and take a look at that. This is the entrance into the turnabout, or the submarine pen entrance area. And And this bridge is latter day, but it still functions so that the boats that are inside here who want to get back out into the main channel can go through this area. And how that bridge functions, it looks like it tilts up, it rises up, and there's a house over there which probably houses the controls for the bridge. I'm sure today you have to make arrangements. Back in World War II, the Germans had a guy there who controlled it all the time.
Jill was talking about it.
Huge.
So entry is not permitted, obviously.
Yeah.
Enter.
This is La Police from a distance. We'll try to get closer. This is the bunkers of La Police. We cannot get into the area. We've tried as best we can. So we're just taking the best picture that we can of the bunkers. Those are the sub pens at La Police. It's under French government ownership and restricted to get in. We are at St. Nazareth, and Susan and the little car that we've arrived here in is just down the road from part of the bunker complex. We're now going to go over and take a look at the front of the complex. This is the complex at St. Nazareth, and as you can see, most of the pens are still have water in them, and some of the doors are down. This is all supposedly in private hands.
You can see people are walking around over there.
And we'll try to get over to the other side so that we can take a better look at it. Pen is this way, and we'll take a look at it.
Start over?
The sub pen is here, and we'll take a look at it in a moment. But over here where this large metal contraption is where the subs would have come in to the turning basin. And that is also called a lock. And then as you pan the camera around, you'll be able to see the entire face of the St. Nazareth sub pens. This is the remains of the lock control that the Germans used. Now it's a metal gate up there. This is a French submarine located in the covered bunker, allowing access into the sub pen. We are on top of the bunker, which now houses a French submarine that was used for access, protected access, into the submarine pens, and could also serve as a dry dock. We'll go over now and take another look at the pens. From the top of the bunkered lock, I'm now taking another picture of the pens here at St. Nazareth. We're looking at a cruise ship here in the harbor of St. Nazareth and the bridge that we came over coming from the south.
The longest bridge in France.
It's the longest bridge in France. And we're now still on top of the bunker, and you can see a gun turret that's left over up here at the top. Not too sure why, but with all the concrete, you wouldn't think you'd need that. This is an advertisement for the sub that's inside the bunker, and even shows a 2013 schedule. But when you look inside and look around the outside, it doesn't look like it's being used.
Yeah, it says come aboard the...
Here's another picture of the advertisement for the base, and showing the present condition of things and where they are. In the large, down in the lower right-hand corner, the large lock. Well, this is the picture of a 1950s French submarine that you can tell was designed for touring, but obviously is being neglected now. Right nearby the pens, there's a lovely restaurant or two to eat as we are and enjoy the view. This is the outside of the sub pens themselves, and I'm going to pan down so that you can see the entrance, and you can actually walk into this entrance and go into it, as you can see. Here is the inside of one of the sub pens, and you can see how it's been filled up, and then there's some kind of commercial activity in the back behind the wire fence. This is the roof design. You can see the corrugated material that was used to hold the first pouring of concrete, and of course was then left in place once the pen was completed. Here on this is one of the sub pens that is opened at the other end, and it appears to have water in it, but it's just partially so. The rest of it has been filled in, and then you can see the far end is open. These holes between pens appear to have been there under the original German occupation and building. They don't appear to have been cut through later on. A few have, and I'm going to telescope you through this door here in just a minute. And you can see that this is partially filled, and then with something else, and there's a deck and a dock, and it could be used. This number is left over from the numbers on the pens, 9A. You can see that most of these pens are faced off the concrete, but these are open, probably since the war. They would not have wanted to have left them open for bombs that exploded outside. We have some trees growing up here at the top, and of course it looks like, could be something else, but it looks to me strangely like graffiti. Yes.
At least they can spell.
This is the upper roof design that the Germans created, so the bombs would be deflected by these rounded top parts, and the blast therefore would be deflected. It didn't work too good for the tall boys, but certainly most of the bombs were deflected off the roof. And then there's a door that goes inside because there was an open area that also helped absorb the explosions. These boxes or crates are the trees that are growing up on top, and so they're not growing in the concrete. Man has made a bed for them here. But this is a space between the rounded initial rooftop, and these were explosion spaces which further protected the roof that we're standing on. This is a picture from up on top of the bunker looking down at the covered entryway, which could also have been used as a lock for protection into the turning basin. And I'll zoom down to it. This is the one that now houses a 1950s French submarine, which they say is still open to people on the weekends, but it doesn't look like it to me.
You know why? I think that it's a...
This is a piece of the corrugated roof, and you can see the iron that was used laid down, and then they poured concrete on top of that iron, and in the pens themselves the corrugated still exist. These are just two sections that were brought up onto the roof for visitors to take a look at. This is an elevator that you can take from the ground floor up to the top, the roof. Interesting part about it is they have the sides of the elevator open so that you can see the thickness of the concrete, which is 18 plus feet. A picture of one of the doors. Of course now it doesn't move, but it at one time moved into close up and provide bomb protection to the interior workshops. And there's a railroad line in there on the floor. You can see it. People walking by look like ghosts. And apparently, although I said it earlier, apparently none of the pens are being used for private purposes. It all appears to be something the government is doing. This is the bunker at Lorient, and of course it's still occupied by the French Navy. This is another view of the bunker in Lorient, and unfortunately I don't know who the guy is. Maybe you recognize him, but I don't. This is at Lorient again, and this is a French submarine, the Flore, F-L-O-R-E, that's displayed outside. I don't know that you can get in it. We'll find out. This is the entrance to K3. You can see the K3 on it, which is Keoman, K-E-O-M-A-N. There are three of them, 1, 2, and 3, obviously. And around there is the entrance. We'll walk down and see what we can see. Now this is the stern of the Flore, and unfortunately I have to take this through a gate, so we'll have to come around. And this is the slide, or the railroad roundhouse type slide, where they could move the boats laterally, and then they could go into the various doors and place the submarine inside. And of course this is K1, and you can see the various doors where the submarines could be trailered into. I call it trailered, but they were on railroad lines. And this is the floor again, sitting in between K1 and K2. Here at the bunker, there's a considerable marina establishment, mostly with catering to racing boats. There's some double hulled, which you can see there, and then a whole lot of single hull. Whole lot of very expensive. People are spending a lot of money on these things for very little purpose, in my view. And then out here at the mouth is the remains of some sunken vessel. That's the first I've known of it here at the bunker. Obviously quite old, it's been there a long time, and we'll take a better look at it. This one I misspoke myself as I was viewing it through the camera. That's a trimaran, and that of course is a single hull here. And then we have another trimaran here, all sailing boats. This is the entrance on K2, and the subs would come into this gate or door, and then there were iron doors that would close off to turn it into a dry dock, or the boat could be lifted up onto the carriages and moved into K1. This is the interior of the place where the subs would go in and be mounted on their cradle and then move back to where the floor was that we saw, and that cradle back there then would move them between bunker 1 and bunker 2. It does not appear to be occupied by the Navy now. It appears to be occupied by all these people who are sailing very expensive boats. This is K3, and this is the one part of the Lorient bunkers that actually had wet pens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and you can see them here. Currently they do not appear to be used for any purpose. On the panorama I can hear sounds in there coming from there, but I don't know what it is. And this is one of the trimarans is leaving. Going to go out and spend somebody's money. And then behind it is this very long, sunken, what appears to be a commercial boat of some kind. Very long. I'm going to go up and show you the artillery, aerial attack guns. These were guns that were used to ward off airplanes, and of course they had big walls around them to protect the crew from flak and from shrapnel, from bombs from being dropped. This is a distance shot of the K2, where the subs would go in and get on their cradles and then be lifted up to then go into the bunkers 1 and 2. And we were over there a little bit ago, and we've walked away now, and this is a distant shot. This is a submarine floor again, and looking down into the pit where the carriages would bring the boat. And here's another section of it, but then they have cemented in the rest of it. But on that particular bunker, there are 9 places where submarines could be pulled in for work. And then as you go around to this bunker, which is number 2, and this is the iron door that they would have come through on, and all the railroad is gone now, but they would have come in here, and then once they were in position, they would have been moved down or up and placed into one of the bunkers. Today, all of these bays are being utilized by this sailing outfit, and these are all forms and fiberglass, and they're actually constructing and building stuff inside these places. And not being a connoisseur of all of that, I don't really understand the name, how it relates to the racing industry. But clearly there's a lot of money being spent here. And again, that's the door that they would have come through. We're in the coffee shop here at the Lorient base. This is all part of the racing team stuff. Notice the fireplace has no foundation, it's just suspended. But it's a pretty nice looking place, and they have coffee, so it's well worth stopping. This is right beside the sub pens, and you can see that this is very tidal, and the tide is out, and there's quite a few boats sitting on their side. Or just sitting on their bottoms.
Right.
Waiting for the water to come back. See? This is the building that houses offices and so forth for all of this racing team here.
It's also the museum.
It's also a museum. And this boat right here in front is part of that. I thought I would take another picture of the sunken freighter, as the tide is now out and you can see a great deal more. What year was it, Susan, that the Navy gave up? 1997?
1997, yeah.
1997 is when the French Navy left these facilities at the end of the Cold War. And now, of course, they are run by these sailing outfits. Susie,
Yeah.
what's the name of the town?
Kimper.
Kemper.
Kimper.
Too late, I should have taken it. In Kemper, this is the old city wall surrounding the cathedral. We are in Brest and exploring an old fort. This is not the bunker, but an old fort. And we will go in. This fort apparently has a maritime museum. We'll go into it and explore a bit. If apparently didn't get hit by bombs or been very nicely restored, don't know which. Inside the fort walls is this interior wall, which was Roman. And it's defined by the 2 rows of bricks and then the 6 or 7 rows of rock. So you have brick, rock, you have rock, brick, rock, brick, rock that you can see in the picture.
And there's a red mortar that's used.
We're still in the fortress, and this is a 1944 French submarine, which is up here located for us to see. Going this direction from where we are is the naval port at Brest, and you can, just carefully looking, you can see some equipment that looks and appears French, and it is there that the submarine pens are. We probably will not be able to see them. Still at the castle, which was Roman at one time, English, French, the Dukes. This is the people's boat. When they look across the promenade, you can see the extensions of the fort as they go around this large building that has been built here. And on the other side, you can see the fort re-emerging as its wall drops off on the other side. Alright, I'm still up on the fortress museum, and I have spotted the submarine pens. I'm going to try to zero in on them as best I can. There they are. And they're still in their Navy base and under Navy control. France is not big on fortresses. However, this one at the port is an exception to that. France, of course, is much more important for its large churches and cathedrals. Here's an interesting little round turret, part of the fort. Looking down from the fort, we see a lot of Navy boats moving up and down. Of course, here's a couple of schooners. And it will zip in on the schooners. Nice. Since you cannot get into the pens, which lie out there in the haze, which I might say is smog, We're not going to go over to it. Try to sneak up on it from high atop. They say it can be done, but it doesn't seem worth it since you can't get in and touchy-feely. So that's going to be it for our trip to Brest. We are in the harbor at Saint Malo, and we're looking at some very oldish ships as we go up the harbor towards the walled city, the old walled city, which was badly beat up inside by the Allies trying to kill Germany. And we'll walk up and see this one. An old square rigger here at the port by the walled city. And we'll take a look at the name. There it is. This will be a panorama of the old town. It's so cold out here that I am waiting to get inside the wall. I'm sure it'll be warmer. We are Mount Michel. This is taken from up on top of Mount St. Michael's or Michel. Saint Michel. This is the visitor center at Omaha Beach, where a major cemetery is located. Looking at Omaha Beach, off in the distance is Point Luck, which was a problem for everybody in those days. And we come on around, and we're at the cemetery. And we're looking off to the point of land that begins the point for where Cherbourg is. Again, looking at Omaha Beach, and you can see that we're at the high ground, and looking down to the beach where the guys had to come aboard. And again, looking back to Point Luck. There are about 9,500 buried here.
Sorry, I can turn around.